For more recent, welcome to Takes Invest. Talk about investing, finance, fresh equipment. For today's reasons only, the investment on top of today will be Coinbase, ticker COIN. As you know, the Coinbase earnings for Q2 is expected to debut after market hours today. And as of today, as I'm recording of 10:34 a.m. on the Eastern Time, currently $265, down about 5.30% so far. With respect to subsequent surge days we've been experiencing so far, ever since basically on the 4th of August until recent time frame for the last 5 days, we surged up from the $230.45 to all the way at one point at the $276 or $80, $280 to be more specific in the previous days. That was the all-time high. It seems like with respect to today, we are experiencing some negative pressure with a couple of things, right? The couple of catalysts that's driving this sell-off are one, with respect to the Senate infrastructure bill on the crypto provision, right? Obviously blocking and rejecting that. So obviously with that, will subsequently cause sell-off across both the crypto market, but obviously with the ties and correlations that Coinbase has to the overall crypto market, knowing the fact it is an exchange platform for cryptocurrencies, it drives some sell-off. And also with respect to the subsequent surge days we've been experiencing so far, we're probably experiencing something that's called the, buy the rumor, sell the news type of affectation. So people are basically selling the rumor and buying the news afterwards. So it's kind of reverse psychology in an earnings perspective, right? There's another one that was a news that got picked up on CNBC and CNN earlier today. With respect to the surging COVID variants cases that we are percolating. So obviously with this macro pandemic news, that could subsequently, cause another shutdown countrywide perspective or international perspective, that can subsequently drive some sell-off across the whole market, right? Not just for crypto, not just for equity, right? So I'm gonna go through technical analysis again, knowing the fact that it is gonna be a volatile day. Next couple of hours as well for us because of earnings. I'm gonna take a look at the chart to see how we're trending right now, where we see going forward, what the level we should be buying at a resistance level to dollar cost average, etc., etc. So stay tuned, stick around, let's make some money. So moving on to the Coinbase technical analysis, I'm recording this at 10:36 a.m. on Eastern Time. Currently $266, down about 5.08% so far. You can see that with the subsequent surge days we've been experiencing on the 4th of August when we were at the $230 and then subsequently surged all the way to $282.43 level basically yesterday on Monday. And you can see that mega red candle because of the Senate infrastructure bill on the crypto revision rejection with respect to obviously the surge that we've been experiencing so far, on top of the gap that would form historically. Whenever you form a gap, you have to fill the gap. It doesn't just hover away because that's imbalance in the supply and demand dynamics. So you have to fill that gap, right? Also on top of the COVID variant news that got picked up, right? So knowing the fact that we are basically hovering on a sideways fashion right now, and there is no ground in between the levels, you could say we might have some ground at the 264, and that's probably the reason why we are kind of having a pause moment at the moment. But you can see how lack of substance there is, right? These are just like candles, red candles that's dropped extremely sharply. So I think we do have a high propensity to go down a little bit more to the 257, and the next level to 246 if we have a negative earnings coming out today, right? So depending on what the management team is going to say today, how they're going to be countering the infrastructure bill's revisions, how they're going to be countering the crypto bill that's led by Don Byers, and the overall crypto adoptions going forward, right? Because I do understand that there are some verbiage on the news front talking about that with respect to the exchange on Coinbase app. That seems to be a little bit more selling activity in comparisons to buying activities, which I guess it makes sense, but you also have to take that into consideration that are people just holding, they're not selling, right? That's a good thing, right? So maybe that's one of the reason. I don't really know the dynamic of it, so we will hear more later on the earnings call. But no matter what the earnings calls come out to be, right, we always fall back into the pieces that we have identified here, right, into the frames of patterns that we have identified, right. So if today we have a negative sell-off, we will obviously go down to the 257 as the first level to kind of consolidate, or ideally to even 246, right. And I think ideally for me, I would probably dollar cost average 246 if you want to incur a position for the first time, or even ideally 240, which is a level of substantive consolidation zone that would form in the past, right? And if we leap up, right, we'll be obviously going in the opposite direction. You obviously will go up potentially to be above 300 today, or somewhere around 292, because 300 is a relatively hard level to crack. It's a flat number, and then whenever we break those like psychological resistance zone, it just takes some effort to push through even more, right? So something to be mindful of, right? But no matter what happens today, just hold tight. If you bought it a long time ago, I know some people bought on IPO, and buying on IPO is typically not the most advisable move because of the fact that the valuation in the enterprise value perspective is typically inflated at the moment because of the hype and euphoria, because like people have been anticipating for that for a while, that you want to cool down a little bit, right? Also at the same time, people within the management team are holding relatively large portion of their equity holdings, right? So when there is a period where they allow employees to liquidate or sell their holdings, it can subsequently drive more sell-off, right? And those time frames typically occur around like the IPO time frame. So you definitely want to be mindful of that subsequent sell-off, and that's exactly what happened, right? We saw that we were, somewhere around like at 1.429, and I feel sorry for people that actually bought at that level, but you can never time the market, right? But if you understand the dynamics going forward, you understand that it's probably probably smart to wait off, until you cool down a little bit, right? Because of the IPO. So hopefully this is something you are learning over time, and eventually you understand the dynamics. But it's a new language that we're speaking in terms of how you translate the chart into simple digestible messages that you could use to execute your price level going forward. So recap on numbers and technical analysis. With respect to the frames of reference that we've identified here, right? If we break down even further, first level is 257, the next level is 246, and then the ideal level would be somewhere between these two levels, 246 and 239, right? So I think I might be buying a little bit if we have a drop today, because I do believe in this, long-term value proposition, and Coinbase being one of the prominent players in this space, despite my lack of, I would say my moderate experience with Coinbase so far. I've been a user for about 2 to 3 years so far, but it seems like there's some fishy activity going on with respect to like manipulations. It seems like it's crashing and freezing sometimes, so it is what it is. But in terms of like the massive adoptions going forward, the globalizations, and obviously the diversification of the business model shifting to the e-commerce offering side going forward for Coinbase, it can be interesting, right? In the valuation perspective. So these are the frames of reference I will be looking at. So that's it for the select my technical analysis on Coinbase, ticker COIN. Hopefully this is helpful in giving you that structure. Today's gonna be a volatile day, which is expected on earnings. So no matter how the price is gonna go, just stay within the frames of reference, the pattern that we've identified so far. And when you can think that way logically, you're never gonna be freaking out or using emotions to execute your price level. So hopefully this is helpful. I appreciate you, and stay tuned for this to come out. Take care. Bye.